Bata, bata, paano ka ginawa? Fellow Toastmasters, tonight, I am not going to talk about a movie casted by Carlo Aquino and Vilma Santos, in which both have this scene wherein the latter tries to slap the former after a heated conversation. No, we're not going to talk about it. I know I am not an expert in this topic, nor I am a person who has received regular training for it. However, it's the experience and most importantly, the interest to know and understand people around me better that has brought me to learn this crucial stuff. It is a matter that deals with psychology, and I would love to share it with you tonight. Fellow Toastmasters, take a deep breath, pause, let there be a moment of silence. Have you ever observed yourself, even once, about you and the way you deal with others or respond to situations? Have you felt before like you're lagging behind your age mates, or you immediately cry over trivial things, or even think that you're being too harsh on yourself? Ladies and gentlemen, here now comes the world of psychology, which will help explain us to why we're doing this or that. At the time, or this time, we will also consider our inner child, the child within us, to understand better who we are today. Again, I am not an expert, but I have seen psychologists who are sharing their knowledges to the people freely, and I thought this may help you too. If you have deeper understanding of this, much better. For as tonight's sharer, I will also be able to know later if these ideas are either true or just fallacies. Let's start. The first one, fellow Toastmasters, have you noticed yourself getting so emotional and throw tantrums about silly stuff? For instance, you were teased by someone for fun, yet you bowled after it. Even if the words were pretty not much that intense or not that hurting, then you would be told, kapayasun in Bisaya, which pertains to someone who easily cries. Don't worry about this, fellow Toastmasters. The explanation behind this, you tend to get emotional because the little girl or boy inside you is dealing with an unresolved pain. Second, do you find it hard to ask for help from the others? Like you're in a situation wherein it's clear as broad as the daylight that you needed help to do something, but then you find yourself unable to speak about it. Maybe it's not just being shy or that the others around you make you feel inferior. It could be that back then, that little girl or boy inside you had to take care for himself or herself. You got used to it. That's why you grew independent from the others. Third, have you met someone who's a real people pleaser? Like that someone helplessly asks for others' favorable response from what they did, even if it's not necessary? Why does this someone wants to please people? Again, it is because their little child used to have needs which were not met. Or how about this? Have you ever experienced talking a lot and often oversharing to others? Like, you know, that the things are not really appropriate anymore to share to others, or not everyone are interested to listen to it, but yes, there you are. You still talked and talked. Pour it out, fellow Toastmasters. Try to feel inside you, and you will realize that the little girl or boy inside you is just actually crying to be recognized. On the other hand, do you have that friend who's always there beside you, helping, protecting you, not actually merely protecting, but gets confrontational to people who wronged you? Thank that friend. Make them feel that With them, you feel safe. It is because this friend only tries to protect what his or her little child failed to protect. This counts for the fifth one. Second to the last, are you problematic when it comes to your relationships? Problematic in the sense that you have observed that you do not usually last long with your partner in the last relationships that you had. Maybe 6 months was the longest. And as you think deeply of it, you yourself usually cut off those relationships when you feel in yourself that you are not happy anymore with your partner. You know that for a relationship to work out, it must involve compromising, giving you best effort to keep it. Yet there you are, doing otherwise. Why do you think it happens? It is because the inner child had experienced abandonment. And when the slightest tinge of unhappiness makes its way to you, you distance yourself because unconsciously you want to protect yourself ahead. Lastly, ever thought of people who are perfectionists? Like they tend to scrutinize even the smallest detail of a work and always aiming to create the best and the highest? Perhaps it can be explained as to how these people's parents raised them. Their parents could have probably asked a lot of demands from their little child. And in return, they had been struggling to meet these demands, making them bring as they reach the age of maturity. There are a lot of situations out there that can be best explained by looking at our inner child. This is why some of the psychologists would greatly emphasize that the earlier years of the child is the most crucial period of developing this child's personality and looking ahead in developing who he or she will be in the future. I know these ideas could be pretty common for the others in here. Others could have heard this for the first time. The point here on why I'm sharing this is that adults as we are today, we need to understand all these things that we had gone through when we were still child or children, for they will help us explain, not fully, but at least get us a glimpse of our true nature. And as adults as we are, we will soon be raising kids. Thus, this will give us edge on how we're going to take care of our offspring. At the same time, prevent them from going through the bad experiences we might have experienced. Again, we cannot raise children in this world to experience complexities of life in their later years. May this speech reach those who need it the most right now and be an avenue for us to overcome false hopes and right regrets. Back to you, Tim Van.